welcome back, everybody, to I'll Hang Up and Listen, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from at 7 different Western New York locations. If you need to get a beer, get over to Fatty Beer. Let them know that we over here at Two Goalies and Mike sent you. Great vibes, live music, entertainment, trivia. They have the works. Best place to pregame before a Sabres game, best place to catch a Sabres game, best place to go after a Sabres game. 3 for 3. So again, they have 7 different Western locations. Make sure you check them out. And of course, shout out to our sponsor at Extreme Discount Mattress, with Western New York's finest selection of mattresses and adjustable beds, featuring the Cool Gel Memory Foam 2-sided mattresses, Telluride Latex, organic mattresses, Channel Walls, and Scott Living, all for 1/3 to half supposed sale prices anywhere. So stop into any of their 7 locations today, or check out their website, extrememattress.com. That is Extreme with an X. Or if you're looking for even more savings, check out their new closeout center at 1625 Walden Avenue in Cheektowaga. Up to 80% off their already low prices. You can save a fortune on one-of-a-kinds, closeouts, and floor samples. Get a quality mattress for literally pennies on the dollar. Extreme Discount Mattress. We sell mattresses for less, a lot less. And remember, remember to not forget, if you buy a mattress and you're a fan of our show, let them know that, and you get yourself a free mattress protector when on any purchase of a mattress. So go in there and mention you're a fan of Two Goalies on Mike. Get yourself a free mattress protector. Can't go wrong. Sabres dropped their first in 8 games after going on an 8-game heater to the Capitals, 2-1. They got goalied, no doubt about it. Lindgren is like another one of those goalies that kind of has the Sabres number. Vitek Vanacek is another guy, also a former Capital. But he played incredible. But the Sabres didn't do themselves any favors. I thought they came out real strong in the first period. That fourth line especially looked incredible. And then you only had 15 shots for the final 40 minutes, which, with a team that's been playing as well as they have in Hurls, it's kind of inexcusable. Oh, you're muted, bud. You are muted. Hold on.
I pulled a Duane. You hear me?
There you go. You pulled a Duane. That's exactly what you did.
Yeah, I think the 2-week stretch since the Olympic break kind of caught up to the team in the second and third period. I think we were all expecting a letdown on Tuesday night against the Sharks after the wild atmosphere and game on Sunday against the Lightning. And
Agreed.
Credit to them. They got out to that 2-0 lead on Tuesday, and they were able to hold on despite some pretty sloppy play. And tonight, they, again, came out extremely strong in that first period. And if it weren't for the play of Charlie Lindgren, this game could have been over pretty early. But that'll happen in the NHL, even with a backup goalie. Lindgren has been a good goalie in this league for a good amount of time now, especially the past few seasons. And especially with a lefty goalie, sometimes it's a little bit different of a shooting angle, and guys aren't as used to it. And maybe it's something I just have in my mind, but it seems like the Sabres kind of struggle with lefty goalies sometimes. So whether it was that or he just had a particularly good night, that'll happen in the NHL. There are nights where the puck's just not going in, even if you take 5 straight one-timers on a power play. I think
I do want to talk about that too.
Yeah, I think that they played a good game, and it's nothing to be discouraged by. Hard to be discouraged about anything when they haven't lost in over a calendar month and in 8 games. So I don't think anybody can be too upset. Obviously, you want to get at least a point on that one, and giving up a goal in the final minute and a half there is definitely frustrating for sure. But you can come right back right at it on Saturday night against a pretty laughable Leafs team that just got their first win in 9 games in over a calendar month. So not all bad news.
And not something to celebrate, but they probably just lost Austin Matthews for a little bit after that. Did you see the knee from Gudas?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. I don't know if it's knee to knee, but he intentionally kneed Austin Matthews and took him out of the game. And very something that we can relate to. Matthew Nyes, William Nylander. Not that there are a bunch of tough guys out there. Like, nobody did anything. It was clear as day that it was intentional. If you get a second to watch it there on your phone, you should. And you got a 5-minute and a game misconduct. So clearly after review, the league said, yeah, this guy, we're going to toss him. And I imagine he's probably going to get suspended. I mean, pretty sure he has a history. So, yeah, it looks like they'll be without Austin Matthews. I'm assuming he's getting carried off the ice.
Rocco Gudas, first Sidney Crosby, and now Austin Matthews. He's the Canadian and American captains. I think he intended to hit him. I don't think he intended to specific, just like watching the slow motion replay. Of course it does happen. And I think slow-mo looks worse than it actually is. I don't think he meant to hurt him. You know what I mean?
He definitely meant to make contact though.
Yeah. I think that
you don't keep your leg out there for no reason other than to hit.
He moved out of the way. I just think that he was trying to readjust to what Matthews' movement was. And in the process of that, it was a dangerous play. And I think he probably should be suspended. But if he's suspended for that and Brandon Hagel wasn't suspended for what he did to Dahlin on Sunday, then I'm not sure what the NHL's criteria or rubric for suspending players is, to be honest. But yeah, it's a dangerous play, and hopefully it's not too bad for Austin. But given the way the Leaf season is going, I wouldn't be surprised if they shut him down.
Chat is being really hard on Owen Power today, and again, he doesn't really give us many opportunities, or I shouldn't use the word opportunities, but doesn't really give us, many reasons to criticize him over the last, I'd say, 30 games. But tonight was not one of his better showings, especially on that second goal. A lot of puck watching there.
Yeah, I watched it back, and believe me, I'm as much of a defender as anybody because I think people are entirely too hard on him, and they have been for a long time. There's no excuse for what happened on the goal late in the game. It's not just him; it is the entire team. And
UPL has to make that for initial save too. You got to track that better.
You could kind of feel it coming, and especially in the third period, the ice was tilted in favor of the Capitals, and they were stuck in their zone. And when you have that type of momentum, I think we all know the feeling behind when a team has that energy in the offensive zone. And I think Power was at the end of a shift. He was completely out of gas. He clearly had no idea where the puck was, and not even necessarily puck watching. Because if he was puck watching, he would have moved his head when the pass went into the slot. So I think he was just definitely overworked and tired. And I really do think that kind of speaks to the Sabres defensive pairings a little bit. Another night where Byram and Dahlin each have 23 minutes. Power and Samuelson each have 21, and Luke Schenn and Logan Stanley are playing 13 and 14 minutes each. I don't know if that's necessarily representative of a breakup of those three pairings around the league, but I think those top four have played a significant amount of minutes, especially in the past 9 games. And these guys need to be fresh come playoff time, right? It's crazy to say, but this is going to happen. It's not. It seems I saw today was over a 99% chance that the Sabres are going to make the playoffs. So they've been a huge part of this. Obviously, that was a very, very bad example from Owen Power there, but it was also a bad example from the entire team in the second half of the game.
Logan Stanley, that pairing of Logan Stanley and Luke Schenn. We'll talk about Luke Schenn and the Tanner Pearson debut too. But I thought the fourth line, especially in that first period, looked incredible. Would you say that was their best line tonight?
Yeah, I'd say so for the most part, especially in that first period. They were buzzing around the offensive zone. The pass from Mallenstein over to Carrick for the goal was amazing. Assisted by Power, by the way. Obviously a secondary assist, but it's not like he did nothing tonight. So I think, of course you can criticize him for what he did on the goal, but it's not like he was this horrible, horrible player. I think Benson had a really tough night tonight. He's been good on the fourth line when he's been slotted in there.
He needs to start burying his chances when he gets them, though, man. He
for sure.
I know Mauricio takes a lot of shit in the chat because he's critical of Benson, but I will say tonight it's very warranted. That's a guy who needs to start stepping up more consistently on the score sheet.
Well, I would say he probably had his worst night of the season. I'd say it's hard to be super only one shot on net. He wasn't a minus or anything, but he had a couple turnovers. I was gonna look. He had just one giveaway technically, but he had some liable plays out there in the offensive and defensive zone, and I think it's kind of unlike him because he is such a hard-nosed, smart player. So I think a bit of a rough night for everybody, especially in the second half of the game. And I think it's something to learn from. That's an experienced team that I think is underachieved this year. one of the best teams in the NHL last year, and they've struggled with some injuries. They just traded John Carlson, so I think they're probably extra motivated. And to add to that, they said in the second intermission, basically every single game is a must win for them moving forward if they want to make the playoffs. And you're going to get a lot of teams like that in these next 15 games that aren't necessarily in the same position that the Sabres are, that are pretty comfortably in. So they're going to need to meet the moment, and they're going to need to meet teams' energy, especially if they have the type of start that they did and only scoring one goal.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Kessling coming out of the lineup tonight. I mean, I'm not sure if that was just because they wanted to see get a good look at Luke Shen, obviously given his experience and pedigree, and just see how he would fit in. And obviously he has experience playing with Stanley. I have to imagine after that we'd probably see Kessling back in the lineup against Toronto.
Yeah, I'd say so too. I think he was starting to get some momentum, and I think he's working his way back to 100% full health. Hopefully he is there. I think his play as of late has shown that, but he's also been in a pretty sheltered role. He's also been playing less than 15 minutes a night. And I get the love for Zach Metza because his underlying numbers are really, really good, but the most he's played in a game this season is like 13 minutes.
He doesn't play a ton of
and his average time on ice is under 10. So
yeah,
it's been in a very, very sheltered role given how well that top four and how many minutes the top 4D have been playing, at least in the past few months. So
that power
it's good to have depth, but you got to figure it out in terms of who's on that third pair.
From Joe Zaddy here for the power play blue tonight. Yeah. And it was entertaining to watch fucking Tage absolutely hammer 5 one-timers. I do, however, think probably one of those last two, the second last one or last one, maybe he should have held on to it, because at that point, Lindgren he knows it's coming. He's ready for it. He's getting out of his paint. Like, I don't know, man. Like, and it's just like, I don't know, law of physics. By that fifth time he's taking that shot, he's probably a little gassed at that point. I don't know.
For sure.
Fake it,
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, especially when you do 4 times in a row, maybe on the fifth one, a fake shot, and then pass to the front of the net. Maybe you hope to get a bounce off a stick or a knee, or get it to one of your guys in front of the net. I think he was kind of living in the moment there, and obviously he was laughing going into the room in the second period, and can't really criticize Tage too much at the moment, given the type of heater he's been on. So I'm not going to sit here and say he should have done something differently. And even the power play, they scored 4 power play goals on Sunday against the Lightning.
Yeah.
And it's obviously not where it needs to be quite yet, but I think it has been improving, especially since Josh Norris has been back. I think he provides a lot of stability and a lot of creativity on that unit. And he's a calming presence almost with the way that he handles the puck, and he's able to distribute. So I'm not as worried as I once was. And I do think that they've still been using the double slingshot, but they've at least had a plan once they've gotten into the zone. They have 3 or 4 quick passes that once they gain possession, they have a few different options, which is kind of what we've talked about recently, getting into the zone on the power play. I've noticed that a couple times tonight. They still need to win more draws when they're in the offensive zone. And I think generally just get the puck to the net. Tage even said that post game tonight. I saw he said, like, it was a lot of one and done tonight, not necessarily capitalizing on tips and rebounds and dirty type opportunities. So they've been really, really good at that as of late, and they got to continue that moving forward.
What did you think of the line juggling? I know with Tuck out, it kind of changes things up a bit, but Lindy kind of went away from a lot of the things that were going well for, obviously the fourth line, it worked out, but I wasn't a big fan of some of the line juggling he did. And they did kind of get away from a lot of the things that have made them so successful over this 10 game, going back even further back than that, this long stretch they've been on. I don't know, man. I think that you probably should have left well enough alone until the team gave you more of a reason to juggle lines. I thought that we weren't getting bodies to the net. Lindgren played great, but there were times where he was seeing pucks pretty well. There weren't bodies in front of him. There weren't a ton of second opportunities. They just got away from the game that has won for them a lot over the last couple weeks.
For sure. And I think that is as good of an example as any as how important Alex Tuch can be to this lineup in terms of not only chemistry, but depth up and down those first three, you can call them first three lines, but top six and middle six, right? Like that first line with Tage and Tuch has been going super, super strong since the middle of December, no matter who's been on it, whether it be Zach Benson or Peyton Krebs. And obviously the Ryan McLeod, Jason Zucker, and Jack Quinn line has been incredible, especially in the past 8 games. Ryan McLeod and Jason Zucker specifically, with Jack Quinn having the night of his life on Tuesday. So, yeah, I mean,
they're just invisible tonight.
Yeah, and that's part of his game. I think
patented Jack Quinn right there.
Can still fairly criticize, right? Like he can have a hat trick one night and disappear the next. I think he benefited from playing the Sharks on Tuesday because there was a lot more open ice. It wasn't as physical of a team. He didn't have the greatest game on Sunday in a playoff type game that the Lightning played, and I think he needs to learn to play a little bit heavier and a little bit tougher. Of course, he's got this unbelievable release and this amazing shot, but he struggles when he faces pressure and he faces physicality because he's not the biggest guy in the world. He's got to play a little bit more like Zach Benson if he can. Speaking of which, who is obviously even smaller than Jack Quinn, but he plays with a little bit more of an edge and he's able to handle that type of game.
I don't think he's healthy either. I don't think Benson's been healthy relatively at all this season.
I think we're going to get to the point in the season where a lot of these guys aren't going to be 100% for the rest of the way. You always hear that in the playoffs, after the playoffs, guys playing with broken bones, chipped, fractured this, bruised this, broken ribs. That's playoff hockey. And as far as I'm concerned, they've been acting like they've been in the playoffs since the middle of December, given the way that they started the season. And they've gone on this generational run, and they've put themselves in a position where unless a generational type collapse happens, they're going to make the playoffs and break the drought. They've been giving 1,000% effort almost every single night. And even in some of the losses, look at tonight. It's a game that they deserve to win. And look at some of the other losses in this 3-month stretch. There's only been a few games, maybe the Columbus game on New Year's Day, or it was right after it, and the Pittsburgh game right before the Olympic break, where they got outplayed and deserved to lose the game. I wouldn't consider that to be one of those games tonight. I really don't.
No, neither do I. I do want to bring up this comment here. Shout out to Dan Anderson. Quinn on ice over Doan for extra attacker was just wrong. I have to agree with that, man.
Yeah, especially getting to the net and getting the type of goal you would need in that situation.
I was saying the same thing as I watched. I actually said to myself, like, where's Doan? Why is Doan not out there in this situation? You're getting pucks. You're trying to get pucks to the net. You want guys that are willing to take a beating to get to a loose puck or find a rebound. And just Quinn's just not that guy. He's a perimeter player. Let's call a spade a spade. He's better on the perimeter. He's not a guy that's going to go into a corner and dig out a puck or take a big hit or lay a big hit or, play gritty along the boards. He's a perimeter shooter. That's what he is. I think we've come to accept that. There was no reason for Jack Quinn to be out there over Josh Doan.
And even with his game on Tuesday, of course, he's a little bit hot, at least recently, but so is Josh Doan in the past few games, and he's gotten to the net and he's gotten those dirty goals. So yeah, I totally agree with that. And you can question some lineup decisions, but I would say for the most part this season, Lindy and the coaching staff have been pretty solid and have met the moment, especially in the last 3 months. So tonight, notwithstanding, with a very critical injury to a guy on your top line, wasn't necessarily the best characterization of what this team looks like. But at the same time, thankfully, it seems like Tuch's injury, he was a game time decision tonight. So hopefully he'll be back on Saturday.
Yeah. Now we're going to go inside the locker room, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western York's premier market and tap room. Some quotes from inside the locker room, both Lindy Ruff and the players. Ruff says Tuch knew during and after the practice that he wasn't going to go tonight. They didn't want to make anything worse. Ruff said, Lindgren, he made some really good saves. I still think we could have done a better job. Says they needed more players at the net and needed to make it tougher for him. Ruff felt that they went pretty well in the first period, but they had 4 to 5 guys that weren't going well for them tonight. Ruff says he thought the Capitals Played a real smart game, and the Caps weren't going to make the big mistake. Said Luukkonen bailed them out on a lot, bailed them out for a lot of the third, and then they lost coverage on the game winner. Luukkonen said he was very happy with some of the big saves he made in the third to keep the game tied. Says it stinks though because it was a winnable game. Luukkonen says the Capitals were looking to sit back and wait for them to make mistakes. Said Lindgren played very well too. Tage Thompson says their game plan was to play fast and get the puck behind them. Said they lost some puck battles in some key areas and they got caught in their D zone. Tage Thompson says Lindgren played really well, made some big saves and gave them life. More from Tage. Says he thought their start was great. Said they got a little sloppy with the puck, too cute at times. Said they needed to get more bodies to the net. Too much one and done, not enough extended ozone as the game went on and on. Carrick says it was a good instincts from Malenstein to find him going to the net. Said it was a really great pass. Carrick says he thought that he and Malenstein and Pearson gelled together really nicely tonight, playing together as a line for the first time. More from Carrick. I thought we got off to a pretty good start. It's a matter of sticking with it for a full 60. We knew they would be coming hard after they lost last night. Wish we could get that back, but we have to move on. And that was it. So brought to you by Fatty Beer Company from inside the locker room. Game quotes from or post-game quotes from Lindy Ruff and the team. So I tend to agree with all of that. I thought that Washington did a really good job of preventing any, them passing through the neutral zone, getting pucks up, up the ice like the way they have been again over the past stretch of games. They said, they played a very conservative game and waited for the mistakes to come, and they cashed in on our mistakes.
Yeah, it's obviously not the result you wanted, but I think it was the process and the type of game that they can replicate moving forward and get a win. I really do believe that, especially in the playoffs. I think that was a playoff style game, obviously lower scoring, pretty physical, some chances that could have gone either way throughout the course of the game. But I think if they continue to play that way, especially the way they did in the first half of the game, I think that is going to lead to a win more often than it is not.
Yeah. Getting a lot of criticism here of Logan Stanley tonight, too. I know he didn't have this greatest game, but at the end of the day, they lost 2-1. They didn't lose 5-1. It's going to take an adjustment period. He is a bigger guy. That means he has to play. He plays defense differently than your Owen Powers, your Dahlins, or, your Samuelson. He's 6'7", he's going to be a little bit slower in the feet than those guys, but I don't know, man. I'm willing to give it a little bit more time for those guys to gel and find the role in this lineup. Obviously Logan Stanley knows where he's playing. He's a third pairing guy. So is Luke Schenn. So is Michael Kesselring. We'll see what happens, man. I think that Logan Stanley probably should be a every night guy until proven otherwise. But that last spot, whether it's Schenn or Kesselring, I think the internal competition of having that much depth is going to be a good thing, down the line.
I think it should be Stanley and Kesselring, given the investment made to get those two guys to this.
Yeah, I agree.
And
100% agree.
That shouldn't always necessitate what this is, just at least to start, because if results don't mirror what the investment was, then you go to Metza, you go to Schenn, you do what you need to do. But at least moving forward, especially given the way that Kesselring has played recently, I think, and also that he's getting healthier, I think that having a really big, tough, heavy third defensive pair that hopefully can play 13 to 15 minutes a game, taking some of that pressure off those top two pairs so that we don't get a situation like we did at the end of the game there, I think that's the best thing for this team moving forward.
I agree with you. I think Kesselring really was starting to find his stride there the last stretch of games. So yeah, he gets a night off. When's the next game again? Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday against the Leaf. Miss the net. Quinn 22 is asking if you're going to the game on Saturday.
Yep. I've seen it about 6 times already in the chat. I was waiting for a time to get to that. I don't know. I genuinely don't. I haven't bought tickets yet, so I'm going to keep an eye on ticket prices and see if they come down at all, which they probably won't. But I'll keep you guys updated. And honestly,
Real quick, before that, a good point. Timmins, the update I saw on Timmins, and it is a good point because they did sign him to be on that third pair before the season. It seems like he's not fully recovered from his broken leg yet, so I don't think you can necessarily factor him into this conversation yet.
That's true. And yes, I know it was only twice in the chat, but if we're counting the last 2 episodes, it's been like 6 times. Yeah, here's the thing too. I thought Connor Timmins was really good for them on that third pairing spot to start the season. He kind of tailed off before the injury, but like he was blocking a lot of shots. He was playing a lot of important minutes. I thought that, he was willing to put his body in harm's way to make plays, and he's a physical guy. So yeah, I think he's going to fit right into this equation once he gets back. I think Lindy liked him a lot. So again, depth is a great thing to have. When your point about Metza earlier, how well he was playing and all what the analytics all said, when that guy is kind of like third in the rotation as your 7th guy, because it's going to be Kessler and Stanley, and then you got Timmins, and then you got Luke Shen, and then you got Metza. I mean, that is some incredible depth on your blue line.
Yeah, it's good to have. I think obviously part of the reason Logan Stanley is getting some hate tonight is the turnover that directly led to the first goal, of course. I think that is going to be something that not necessarily is indicative of his game, but he's going to have some giveaways. He's not necessarily he's not Rasmus Dahlin, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
He is not going to walk the blue line and dangle a guy and get to the net. He plays a heavy game. He has a really hard shot. He's had a high shooting percentage this season, but I would like to see more of that shot, because with the guys that we have in front of the net to get tips and rebounds and score the goals they've been scoring recently, I think Logan Stanley will be an asset with that shot and that physicality moving forward. But he is going to need some time to adjust. His defensive numbers have not been great this season or in his career, but I think that's not necessarily, of course, like it can't be that bad. And if he continues to give the puck away directly leading to goals, it's not going to be sustainable. But I do think he's going to play the type of game that is going to allow him to be steady on that third pair in the right matchups and the right situations.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Apparently from redact_X, it's a lower back strain for Tuck. So hopefully that's something he can be ready, because I mean, I imagine he's just nipping at the bud, especially seeing how tonight's game went. He doesn't want to miss that game against Toronto. No way. I mean, a guy who grew up hating Toronto like all of us. I predict it's my opinion, and I predict he'll be back in the lineup if he can play. So important division game, 4-point swing games. Not that Toronto means anything in the standings right now, but we really need to start padding this lead we have in the Atlantic. I know Tampa won tonight. We lost. So I think they're only 2 points behind us now. We have to, even if we lose, we have to come out with points.
Yeah, 100%. And it is the end of the homestand leading into that road trip, which is not necessarily going to be easy by any stretch. Vegas is very, very good at home. San Jose will be looking to get a little bit of revenge, and I think they've been pretty good at home this year. Let me confirm that. San Jose, 17-10-5 at home themselves. The Kings have been really bad at home this year. Actually, they've been really good on the road, but they're still fighting for a playoff spot, given how much different the playoff picture in the West is compared to the East. The second wild card team in the West, the San Jose Sharks, have 68 points. The second wild card team in the East, the Boston Bruins, have 78 points. So it's a pretty significant difference.
Oh, and between the East and the West, yeah. Oh my God.
It really speaks to how well the Sabres have played this year, especially against these tough teams in the Eastern Conference. So going into that road trip, which I will be in attendance for those LA and Anaheim games. Another good team that's exceeded expectations this year. Obviously, they started out really hot. They've been pretty good over their last 10. They're actually somehow leading the Pacific Division right now over the Edmonton Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights. The Anaheim Ducks are. Something on March 12th of 2026, I don't think anybody could have said they would have expected the Anaheim Ducks to lead the Pacific Division and the Buffalo Sabres to lead the Atlantic Division. But that's today's NHL. There's a lot of parity. There's a lot of young talent, and teams can get hot at any moment. It's not going to be easy the rest of the way. It's not going to be easy in the playoffs. And I think tonight's game, they learned a lesson, and they'll be good moving forward.
For sure, man. I completely agree with you. Shout out back out to our sponsors. Thank you again to Fatty Beer Company, Western York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from at 7 different Western York locations. Please keep a lookout for more information on the big watch party that we plan to do. If, and I would say, confidently when the Sabres make the playoffs, the first away game, obviously taking into consideration the temperature is fit for it and that the game is at night. We'll be doing a giant watch party. We're shutting down Main Street and in the village of Lancaster, right outside Fatty Beer of Lancaster, and doing a giant watch party. Screens on each side of the street. When we did these for the Bills, we had like 1,000 people show up. It was a fantastic time. I can only imagine it'll be the same type of turnout for the first away Sabres playoff game in 14 years. So keep an eye out for more information on that. We'll be promoting that, and we have some surprises in store possibly as well. And of course, Extreme Discount Mattress, 7 different Western York locations. If you need a quality mattress for literally pennies on a dollar, get over to Extreme Discount Mattress. Let them know we sent you over 2 goalies, 1 mic. You can find them at their website, extrememattress.com. It's extreme with an X. And they have a new closeout center at 1625 Walden Avenue in Cheektowaga with up to 80% off their already low prices on one-of-a-kinds closeouts and floor models. And remember, if you mentioned that you're a fan of 2 goalies, 1 mic, you get yourself a free mattress protector with any purchase of a mattress. Hurls, your final thoughts before we get out of here.
Yeah, a little bit about what we've spoken about, but I don't necessarily think this is a something that is going to be indicative of how they'll play moving forward, or not necessarily play, but they've had some good scoring, not necessarily luck, but they finished on a lot of their chances recently. And tonight was a night where not only Lindgren played really well, but I think they missed some opportunities that they've been capitalizing on as of late. So that'll happen, and it is the NHL, and these are the best players in the world, and they weren't going to win every single game for the rest of the season. There's a reason that the longest win streak in franchise history is 10 games, and they've gotten close a couple times, but they haven't surpassed it. It's hard to win in this league, and it's especially hard to win consistently in this league. So I think they can take a lesson from it, hopefully get Tuck back, and have a rivalry game on Saturday night with, I think we can speak to this, and we've spoken to it a little bit over the past week or so, hopefully the largest percentage of Sabres fans over Leafs fans in recent memory, given everything that's happening in the world at the moment. Not only the tariffs, which is preventing Canadian tourism a little bit, I think, but the Leafs are in last place. The Sabres are in first place. Austin Matthews might not play. Of course, there's going to be some still, and they're going to be rowdy and obnoxious. But the way that Sabres fans have been showing up for this team recently, I think, is going to show on not only in the arena, but on the broadcast on Saturday night. So I'm looking forward to seeing that and bouncing back and getting a win.
Yep. Yes, if you go to the watch party, you'll get to meet Connor. Hopefully Connor and Steve. I think you'll be in town, correct, Connor?
That'll be in April for the first away playoff game.
Yeah.
Should depending on the schedule, I should be there still. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. If you've enjoyed this podcast, this live stream for audio only, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your audio only podcast. You can find myself and Connor on both Twitter and Instagram. Just search our handles at Duane S39 and then at CHurls13. You can find the podcast on both those platforms at 2 goalies, 1 mic. And of course, if you're watching along on YouTube, as I can see many of you are, please smash that like button. Please make sure you're subscribed. Hit the little bell icon so you know when we go live. It means the world to us, and we appreciate all the support. I continuously see a lot of new names in the chat here. Sean Smith. I think Miss the Nut Quinn 22 is just a refurbished handle, but Newspeak 9610. Welcome to the chat. Joe Zaddy, I think you're new. I could be wrong. Redact is new. Just every single time we go live for a new episode, whether it's 2 goalies on mic or I'll hang up and listen, there's so many new names in this chat that I haven't seen before. We had such a big night after that Lightning game. I think we gained 100 subscribers that night, Hurls. I'm not even kidding you.
Let's go. Mr. Net says they're gonna wear a headband in my honor. I appreciate that. Maybe we can match. I don't know. Yeah. No one can wear a headband quite like me. So we're gonna have to see how you perform. But
yeah, man. I'm sure the game day fit will be perfect too. Whatever we decide
let's
to
get
go
after
with.
it. However we do, I think it's going to be. There's a reason I'm coming home. This is a seminal event in my lifetime. The last time I experienced really watching Sabres playoff hockey in Buffalo was the end of the 2007 season. I was in college at Syracuse for the 2011 playoffs, and I was watching in my freshman dorm lobby of sorts by myself because nobody cared about the Sabres. So this will be as meaningful and as important of an experience as I've had in a really long time, being a fan of this team for as long as I have. So I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully I can meet a few of you guys, and we'll have a good time. That's for sure.
Oh, for sure. I'm super pumped. Maybe we can do like a theme, like wear your favorite drought era Sabres jersey. There's a good one. I like that idea. See if we see if anyone pulls out like a Yarrow spot check jersey or something like crazy like that. Actually, no, spot check, was he on the last playoff team?
He might have been.
Actually,
don't know that off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure he might have been.
I don't know, man. Maybe there's some crazy ones out there. I don't know.
Patrick
maybe
Berglund.
Maybe somebody out there has a Sabres Anders Lindback jersey. That would be fucking incredible. That'd be actually awesome. I want to give a shout out to a few other fans I met out in while I was working this week. Shout out to Mike Skopinski, friend of Cully. Super cool meeting you, and welcome to the show. Johnny Moe is a fan of the show. Thanks for tuning in, and Brandon, former Depew alumni. Great seeing you out in the trade, and hope you enjoyed the show. I think I'm missing one more person. If I remember it, I'll just bring it up next podcast. But with that being said, guys, super fun tonight. Wish we were celebrating a win, but we'll beat the piss out of Toronto Saturday. We'll talk to you guys later. And as always, go Sabres. Talk to you later.